Cade Klubnik, Missouri. Clemson starting quarterback, met with the media earlier this week. I believe it was yesterday. And we got some sound here that I want to play. Y'all are all very much aware that LSU has gotten beat in 5 straight openers, right? You're all very much aware of that. Clemson has lost their last 2 openers as well. Got dusted by Georgia last year and got dusted by Duke the year before that. Cade Klubnik kind of talked about what's got to be different after you lost 2 straight.
We don't have to do too much. I think sometimes you go into a first game and you feel like you got to go do all this insane, crazy plays and go make all this wild stuff happen. But at the end of the day, you just got to do the routine plays and do them really well and be smart, be efficient, and just go rip it and just have fun.
I got asked on Shreveport Radio. I do a Shreveport Radio spot every Wednesday evening with 2 guys who despise LSU to their very core.
As of course you are a Shreveport, one of the most famous people from Shreveport
no
at this
question.
point.
So basically, me, Sam Burns,
Jordan Davis. That's about it.
Yeah. No, Kix Brooks.
Yeah, well, isn't Jared Leto and his brother from Bossier? They're from Bossier, right?
I don't
It's
know
different.
who Jared Leto is.
Oh, you don't know the actor? He's in a band.
Not
kind of famous.
Got nothing on that.
All right, All right, go ahead.
So I'm clearly more famous than him.
Yes.
Dozens of people watch me on YouTube every day. So basically, eat your heart out. So as far as the Shreveport talk show, they said, is LSU making too big a deal about this? And I was like, I don't think so. What are they going to? They're not going to play well because they had stuff in their locker room. They're not going to be able to respond against Louisiana Tech. I think the teams are going to be fired up and ready to play. And I don't think anybody's going to try any harder because they did or didn't have stuff in the weight room. To me, that's just kind of outside stuff that doesn't really matter all that much. And Klubnik kind of feels the same way. What does he see from LSU's defense? Here's what Cade Klubnik had to say.
They're explosive. They've got a great veteran core, especially in the linebacker room, with Weeks and Perkins and, Weeks again. So, they got guys that have played a lot of ball, and they're smart, they're physical, they're relentless. They're hauling ass, to go get the ball every single play, and, they love the game. I mean, they're smart, and you can see it in the way that they play. They're very well coached, not making a lot of middle errors. They're in the right spot and in the right places at all times. So it'll definitely be a fun challenge for us.
Cade Klubnik could be a coach. I mean, that was an absolute nothing burger.
Yeah, he's like Nuss.
It is. I mean, it's just, they're run to the ball, aggressive, well coached, don't make a lot of mistakes, just ripping off cliche after cliche there on LSU's defense. So if he's going to throw flowers to the defense, might as well throw flowers at Garrett Nussmeier. Let's see what Cade Klubnik had to say about his counterpart on Saturday.
Playing behind Jaden, wait until his really 4th year to start. Got a ton of respect for that. And, he's a heck of a player. And, I love, watching him last year, just his anticipation on throws, the way he leads his guys, when we were at Manning, the LSU receivers come over and being able to watch them and the way he leads them and his relationship with them was really cool to see. And you can just tell that, his teammates really love him. And but he's a heck of a player, and, I love watching him play, yeah.
That was a little bit better. Gave me some context there. LSU receivers really like him. He thought there's some good anticipation throws.
Still got heck of a player in there. That's a classic.
That's a Nuss line there as well. But look, I think those 2 guys are going to be on center stage on Saturday, and those 2 guys are going to be high NFL draft picks. And they're really good players, and I think that either team probably feels okay down 4 or 5 points with 3 minutes to go, because you feel like you got a guy who's kind of been through it and can go out there and find a way to make plays late. Nussmeier certainly did it against Ole Miss last year. Klubnik helped him get into field goal range to win the ACC last year. I think these guys are going to be really good players. And one of the things he mentioned, Klubnik did about Nussmeier, is playing behind Jaden, sticking it out, and he has a lot of respect for that. And Klubnik got on the field a lot as a freshman. DJU was the quarterback, but he played in 10 games, started the last game of the season, played really well in that game, was the AC Championship game MVP, and decided that after some bumpy times, he was going to stay. If you heard our interview with the Clemson radio host yesterday, he was talking about, there was a serious conversation about whether Cade Klubnik wanted to be here further after the bumpy start to his career. It just wasn't the high-flying 5-star takeoff tour that Trevor Lawrence was on. So Klubnik talked about his decision to stick with Clemson.
I mean, this is just, in my mind, the best place to get better. So I was in a scenario where I was playing early and I knew that I needed to get better, and this was the place to do it. We had great people around me, an incredible coaching staff, a coaching staff that have put together great quarterbacks before me, great offenses around me. So this is a place I knew I needed to get better, and it's really simple as that.
I think that's pretty reasonable. You got a good offensive coordinator in Garrett Riley. You've got an amazing supporting cast that's got really veteran offensive linemen, 3 great receivers. Running back, they'll see what they've got, but I think he's right on with that. And so this last cut talks about the challenge of treating it just like any other game. I'll let Cade Klubnik talk about it, and then I have 2 different sides to this coin that I want to get to. So this is Cade Klubnik on not making this game too big.
I feel like we faced it last year too. I feel like we're kind of used to that. It's another game, and it's a huge game, but so is week 3, and because when it really comes down to it, it's going to be a number on your record. It's going to just be another tally. So we got to go take care of business this week. Coach Sweeney's going to say it every single week, but we're playing Clemson. So we got to, take care of business and do what we do, take care of the ball, get takeaways, be efficient, make the routine plays routinely. I think we have a really good plan going into it.
And look, there's a lot of truth to that. I have 2 thoughts on it. One, I have talked to multiple players from the 2011 team, Brandon Taylor being one of them, that talked about the camp that they had with Eyes on Oregon and how they trained harder. They just felt like it got them into gear with a total focus and goal on being ready to play in that first game. And we'll never know whether or not doing that and then losing is more detrimental than it would be if you just went out there and treated it, quote unquote, like another game and lost, because they won. But we know that they trained and they were getting ready for that tempo that Oregon ran, which at that time was trailblazing, and it got them into shape. It got them ready to go, and they went out and played a great game and dominated Oregon. And I can hear that side of the coin for this team. Like, hey, they've been focused. They've taken things a little bit more seriously. They've done some things differently as far as the last 3 weeks with practice schedules, practicing at night so they can get ready for a 7:30 first kickoff. And that all sounds great. And if you want to play devil's advocate, like the guys on Shreveport Radio last night who want to say, hey, these guys are putting too much emphasis on it. They're going to try too hard. They're going to play tight. And then once they lose, they won't be able to recover from that because they felt like their whole season was aimed at one thing, and that's over and the goal's gone. You can look at it either way. I don't know that either is right or wrong at this point because we hadn't seen the result. I can tell you what my gut feeling is on it. My gut feeling is they put a lot of work and preparation into getting ready for this game. They're going to be ready to play, focused. They're going to come out and play extremely hard. They're playing a really good team on the road. If they win, it will be an absolute boon for not only this team, but the program as a whole to finally get that monkey off their back with the season opening win and to get into a game where they'll beat Louisiana Tech by 40 next week and then get into conference play with an unbeaten record, and they'll really feel like they've got a chance to do something special this year. If they lose, I don't think they'll just throw up their hands and quit against Louisiana Tech. I think they'll go out there and beat them by 40, and then they'll go play Florida. That's my take on it. So I just don't buy the notion that you're going to make this game, quote unquote, too big. You can say that about the Alabama game 15 years ago. I don't really buy that one either. But it's an inexact thing that you're trying to measure. I think this is fine both directions. Clemson has downplayed everything. Talked about it playing Clemson, being the next week, next game. Like, that's all fine. And LSU said, hey, we want to go 1-0 this year. That's fine too. I don't think it's going to make a material difference on the scoreboard come Saturday. That's just my take on the situation. Certainly Cade Klubnik toeing the company line, as his coach would have him do. So that's some sound from Clemson's starting quarterback. Hey, thanks for watching Hunt on LSU. Before you get out of here, do us a couple of favors. Hit that like button, leave your comments below, and subscribe to the channel for all your Fighting Tiger football talk. See you next time.